Chronicle in Egypt. Tonight, Mary Richardson reports from the land of the ancient pharaohs on the eve of the Ramses the Great exhibition at the Boston Museum of Science.
His mummy lies beneath a black shroud in the Cairo Museum. Hidden from the crowds, Ramses the Great can only be seen by special government permission. 3,300 years later, this great pharaoh is still commanding respect and awe. Called Egypt's greatest builder, Ramses II ruled for 66 years. He was many things to many people. A fierce warrior, a prolific family man, he had 100 children by many different wives. A diplomat, he negotiated the first recorded peace treaty in history. And at times, Ramses was also considered a god.
He portrays himself at times as a god, not even like a god, but as a god, and to be worshipped as a god. He built colossal statues of himself that people would give offerings to, statues that had their own cult. He's remembered. He's never forgotten.
How did he want us to view him?
He wanted us to view him as somebody who was perfect, somebody who was always strong, always youthful, always taking care of his people, addressing their needs, always powerful.
To be pharaoh meant power, but so much more. Pharaoh made the sun rise, the Nile flood, the fields fertile. As pharaoh during Egypt's golden age, Ramses created a legacy of monuments designed to show his power and control over Egypt. The temple at Abu Simbel is just one example of his prowess. Dedicated to his favorite queen, Nefertari, it was moved to another location during the building of the Aswan Dam and reassembled to 1/10 of an inch of its original construction. Today, Ramses and his queen stand tall, safely away from the rising waters of Lake Nasser. But the love Ramses had for Nefertari is even more evident in her tomb, located in Luxor in the Valley of the Dead.
It's a magical, mystical place. When you're here, you can't help but be overwhelmed by it. You can't help but be in awe of it.
Egyptians called it the Valley of the Dead because it lies on the west bank of the Nile where the sun sets. To get there, you must rise at dawn and take a ferry across the river. The ancient ones lived and prayed on the east side of the river, but when they died, the great pharaohs were buried in the mountains to the west. Tunneled deep into the limestone mountains are the tombs. Now sealed from the public, Nefertari's tomb reveals a glimpse of royal life in an ancient world. She was his beloved, his only wife granted equal status as a pharaoh. And when she died almost 30 years after their marriage, Ramses paid her the highest compliment, marrying his daughter by her. Nefertari's mummy has never been found, and today her tomb, though very well preserved, is in danger.
The paintings are in serious danger. There's salt in the rock, and the salt crystals are forcing the decoration off the walls. The decoration is really only on plaster. The limestone was cut very, very finely and then covered with a thin coating of plaster, carved, and then painted. So if this plaster falls off the wall, the decoration is gone.
Right now, Japanese rice paper is being used to help preserve Nefertari's tomb. But in Giza, where the Sphinx and pyramids are located, restoration problems abound. Just last month, part of the Sphinx's left shoulder fell off during a sandstorm, and the pyramids are used more as a picnic area than a national monument. No admission fee is charged to view them, and taking a piece of the crumbling pyramids home as a souvenir is not hard to do. Guards are too busy directing the cars, camels, and T-shirt vendors. But their magnificence remains. Napoleon once sat at their base and did some quick calculating. He said the stone above him would build a wall around France 10 feet high and 1 foot thick. Built nearly 3,000 years before the birth of Christ, the pyramids were tombs filled with treasures to be taken into the afterlife. But soon after the pharaoh's death, robbers pillaged them, leaving only their mystery behind. Built to guard the pyramids is the Sphinx, a mythical figure carved out of one piece of granite. Standing 66 feet high, it has at times been completely covered by sandstorms. Yet despite its worn and windswept face, the majestic Sphinx still reigns 4,600 years later. Even though Egypt is the site of countless monuments, the country has little money to maintain them. An enormous foreign debt and the Middle East conflict have seen to that. And as in the days of ancient Egypt, people are still living on top of some tombs for lack of a better place to live. But despite the monument's neglect, tourists continue to marvel at these sites, awestruck by their timelessness. The legacy of Ramses lives on.
Egypt, it's a mixture of love and hate, Muslims and Christians, and Jewish, and everything. Egypt is a mix of everything. We have everything in Egypt.
Egypt is an Arab country. It is an African country.
Hello, come here.
Egypt is the greatest open-door museum in the world.
When you say Egypt, you say the pyramids. And if you didn't say the pyramids, you haven't seen Egypt. I think the Egyptians are the kindest people you can ever meet in the whole world.
America, good, 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 very good. Welcome.
Most Americans think of Egypt either as the pharaohs, ancient antiquities, or Egypt as part of the Arab Islamic world with all its violence and its turmoils and so on. And of course, these are aspects of Egypt, no doubt. But nevertheless, real Egypt is a melange, is a very interesting mixture. In many ways, a new state, but an old nation.
Jumper upon sound.
Right. How are you?
Chronicle in Egypt. Tonight, Mary Richardson reports from the land of the ancient pharaohs on the eve of the Ramses the Great exhibition at the Boston Museum of Science.
In Egypt, it is said to rain 5 minutes a year. Egypt is one of the hottest and driest regions in the world, sitting on the edge of the North African desert. Nothing can grow on 96% of the land. But flowing through the windswept arid desert is a ribbon of blue. Truly, as Herodotus said, Egypt is the gift of the Nile. For over 10,000 years, the Nile has made life possible here and ensured a society that was stable and secure. Today, as in ancient times, everything evolves around the ebb and flow of the Nile's waters. For thousands of years, the Nile has given life to Egypt, but the Nile can be fickle, and long periods of drought are not uncommon. Right now, Egypt is in the 8th year of a severe drought, and Egyptians believe without the Aswan Dam, this country could look like Ethiopia. Since it was completed in 1971, the Soviet-built Aswan Dam has tamed the unpredictable flooding of the Nile. Water is now being channeled through more land, producing more crops. Saad Eddin Ibrahim is a prominent sociologist.
It saved Egypt from the drought, from the famine, from the desertification that plagued so many African countries south of Egypt.
The high dam, was that good for the Nubian people or bad?
Of course, that's good for all the Egyptian people, not just all the Nubian people.
Without irrigation, these villages would not survive. While the Nile may be their soul, alfalfa, sugarcane, and other crops are their livelihood. A trickle of water from a handmade water wheel brings life to more than an acre of land. Ask her if she tries to save water. Is she careful about how she uses water?
انت عشان بتغتسلي في الميه مش عايزه تصرفي ميه كتير نصرف كهرباء كتير about electricity.
Oh, it's the electricity more than the water. As rich as the Nile Valley is in crops, the villages are even richer in their customs and traditions. These Nubian villagers who live just south of Aswan greet Americans with open arms.
You speak English?
Speak English?
What do you need?
I live in Boston. Boston? Kadi, the self-appointed mayor of Kabu Aswan, shared his tea, strong tobacco, and sense of humor.
How many children does he have? Does he have a family here?
Yes.
Six.
Five.
5 children? How many boys? How many girls?
1. 5 boys. Yeah, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4
4 boys.
boys. 1 girl.
Soundman Jim Fripp came away with a souvenir. Well, I got a lesson in Nubian geography.
Very close to Sudan.
Egyptian Nubia once occupied land in the Sudan, but after the Aswan Dam was built, the area was flooded, forcing many Nubians to leave their homes and resettle here. Today, their strong sense of identity as Nubians, first, and Egyptians, second, remains.
My language is Nubian. I'm like Nubian, not Egypt.
You think of Egypt as another country?
Yes, another country.
20-year-old Nagla is a student and a Muslim who lives with her family in this village of 2,000 people. With her father, Mohammed, she shared a glimpse of their life in this village along the Nile.
Do you like living in this village?
Yes, I'm like.
Why?
Why? Because my village is beautiful, and I am enjoying my family, his life in the village.
Allahu Akbar.
According to Muslim tradition, Nagla cannot pray in the mosque. Her father explains why.
My God said in the Quran, not
Quran.
women not to go to mosque. Because, women, people, she looking, the woman is no good. Yes.
People looking at her, or she's looking around?
Looking outside, but in the mosque, no, can't looking.
No looking.
No looking.
Instead, Nagla prays in her bedroom. But despite her family's disapproval, Michael Jackson and John Travolta hang on her walls. It is expected that someday Nagla will marry and have children. But the large number of children most Egyptian women have is not just to increase the family workforce. They serve another function as well.
It is her insurance against possible abuse by men and against the future. We don't have a social security system well developed as you do in the States. So what is the social security for women in their old age? Having their children.
With over 1 million new babies being born every 9 months, medical care is often unavailable. As a result, many villages use folk medicine as a substitute.
Oh, they put it in onion. Is it onion juice, like onion?
A concoction of onion juice is used to prevent eye infections.
People resort to them either because they don't have modern medical care available, or because modern medical care did not seem to solve their problems. So they resort back to folk medicine.
While some aspects of village life may be rudimentary at best, there is a simplicity here. Families take care of each other. A sense of community exists among neighbors. In many ways, time has stood still. Images are unchanged from thousands of years ago. And even now that the waters of the Nile are tame, the rhythm of village life still evolves around the river, and probably always will. It is called the Great Temple of Karnak. Dating back over 3,000 years, it is located south of Luxor in what was once ancient Thebes. A magnificent monument, it is a must-see on every tourist itinerary. But just south of the temple is a spectacular new find, never before seen on American television. An entire village, estimated to date back to the 16th century before Christ, was accidentally discovered during the construction of a new building. We may know about the lives of the pharaohs, but this is our first glimpse of ordinary life in ancient Thebes. Workers dig with the simplest of tools, unearthing this village layer by layer. Dr. Mohammed Sugair, a prominent Egyptologist, supervises the dig. Are people very excited when they hear about this discovery?
Very excited, because usually most of the scholars, most of the Egyptologists deal with the tombs, with the temples, with the religious affairs, but this is something quite different, because it deals with the life of the people.
Now, who are the people who would have lived here? Would these be nobles or peasants? Or?
I found many objects with names. I found a famous vizier or minister under the time of Ramses II.
This thing that we are holding in our hands, what century do they date to? How old are these?
This is 13th century BC, Ramesside, late Ramesside, yes.
13th century before Christ. Like the villages in Egypt today, this village housed several extended families. A temple, a school, and countless pieces of pottery have been unearthed, giving more background on everyday life in ancient Egypt. With utmost precision, these archaeologists record and log each discovery. When did you find this?
This morning.
This morning?
Yes.
Under full sun and intense heat, workers continue to dig, slowly, painstakingly, like a scene from the past. What have you used to help you?
Used only very simple tools, axe and some small tools, a few centimeters after a few centimeters.
Although Egypt has little money to spend on excavations, Egyptians prefer to do these digs themselves. There is a pride in Egypt that is passed down from generation to generation for those working on the digs. And the $2 to $3 a day that these workers receive is considered a good wage. Like his father before him, Ali Fikhri has worked on several digs. As a child, he carried dirt on his back during the excavation at Abu Simbel.
I carry over my shoulder the dirt 3 years.
During that time, he found one of Egypt's most spectacular statues. With instructions from his father, he returned to the temple.
We found the crown of the statue of Sobek.
This was his reward. The exquisite crocodile statue carved from a single piece of green marble now stands in the Luxor Museum. Over 40 years later, Ali is the master artisan at this site. With a touch that is almost instinctive, Ali puts together 3,000 to 4,000-year-old jigsaw puzzles. Slowly and so carefully, ancient history is pieced back together again, providing answers to man's past.
Seems like
the ancient pharaohs on the eve of the Ramses the Great exhibition at the Boston Museum of Science.
It's Thursday afternoon in Cairo, about 3 p.m. A symphony of noise fills the air. Egyptians and tourists, Christians and Muslims, rich and poor, all converge into a mass of humanity outside the el-Khalili bazaar. Inside the narrow alleyways, the bazaar is in full swing. The smell of exotic foods and spices fills the air. Artists work their craft, while tourists try their hand at bargaining. Established in the year 1400, The el-Khalili has more than 300 shops and sells everything from brass to bread. Concealed in the innermost part of the bazaar are the gold and silver shops, safely tucked away from the pirates who used to rob them of their goods. Each shop is handed down from family to family, and rent is about £10 or $5 a month. According to custom, women are not allowed to own the shops, only men, and prices are, for the most part, negotiable. In Egypt, bargaining is a centuries-old tradition. But one gold dealer, Galal Ismail, fixes his prices and will not be bargained down.
The bargain price, anyway, is not good.
Why is it not good?
Because it's something I want, for example, $100 or £100, and I add £10 for myself, it will be £110.
Right.
When you bargain, I have to add it up to make it $150. And you will bargain with me, take £10 or £15. You're still paying extra money. But when I fix the price, it means fixed price is safe for any customer. When I say this is cost 100, mean 100. I don't like to lose my name. I like to, you know.
And Americans don't like to bargain, you think?
No. I think the American is the soft people I know.
Soft people?
Yes, sir. Here, sir.
Magda Stedelman is an Egyptian who lives in Newton, Massachusetts. While visiting the bazaar, she passed on some tips on how to get the best for your bargain.
You have to
bargain?
Bargain, yes.
All right, what's the secret to bargaining? How do you do it? What do you
because I am Egyptian, I do tell them, well, I am one of you here, and please, you know, I want to know what is the real, price.
Okay, so give me some tips. If I'm an American bargaining and I want a bag, and they say £20, what do I say?
You say, I want to come back, and I'll go to America and bring you a lot of customers.
All right. Hello. Let's see. How are you? How are you? We have some lovely things. Let me ask you about these bags over here, okay?
All right.
All right. Here's a nice bag with the pyramid.
For Egypt.
How much for this?
And that one £4 for you.
£4?
Yes.
For me? For me?
Yes, for you.
How about £2?
No, lady.
I offer them, they say £20.
Yeah.
Should I do half of that? A third of that?
Yes, you can make a little bit more than a half.
More than
Let's
half.
say 15. You say 15, and I'll go to where I found it in another place for 15. I'm gonna go and buy it from there.
Best price for you.
The best price for me is £4?
Price for you.
Okay, I think I saw this one down there for £3. I go look.
No, lady. I have for small, for design, for £3.
Oh, let me go check, because I think I saw this one for £3, okay?
Okay.
All right.
All right. We come back?
Yeah, let me go look.
I wait here.
So we can tell you come back.
And then you walk away?
Yeah, and then they'll call you back.
Sold. While bargaining may be a favorite pastime for both Egyptians and tourists, it is not the only thing to do at the bazaar. There is no better place to sit and watch the world go by.